Greetings, traveler. The fractured skies are growing darker as you creep closer to the halfway point. Your nostrils burn from the air, stained with the iron stench from the lakes of boiling blood. I used to oversee the lakes. The trick is not to use too much blood, because then it just goes everywhere and it distracts from the other horrors. It really is about balance.
It's Dead Reckoning, Season 2, Episode 4. Tonight we talk about haunted locations, and our horror knowledge is tested with a horror movie quiz.
Join us.
What was that noise?
He's recording from inside his bass drum today.
I'm actually in a wardrobe. Long
Have
story.
some dignity.
Yeah, I'm literally in a wardrobe. Because, well, the last time was fine. The time before that, I was in my car because we had guests. Now the in-laws are staying with us, so I'm in a wardrobe.
When you say a wardrobe, is it a freestanding wardrobe or is it like a closet?
No,
with a door
it's
that's
like a
room?
walk-in.
Right. Okay. So you're not you're not in an IKEA wardrobe.
No, the acoustics are terrible in an IKEA wardrobe. Believe me, this should be like a feature. Like, where's Paul going to record?
Is he going to pop out of like in The Conjuring, in the Babadook?
Oh, I was thinking of The Conjuring. I was like, if a pair of dirty fucking hands reaches out and claps, I'm just going to run straight through the gyprock wall.
But you were like a wise Finn asleep under a table. It's like, Daddy's in the wardrobe again.
Furniture means nothing.
Oh, it's so funny. So we got the message when we were in the restaurant and Cash shows it to me. And I'm like, what? I don't understand. And they couldn't put Melody to sleep. So Finn's like, oh, I'll put her to sleep. And goes in there and like pats her and talks to her and puts her to sleep. And then puts himself to sleep but under the table.
Jed used to sleep under our table. Jed used to sleep under our table at Wixton Drive.
Oh, he didn't used to sleep under the table. Like, he was there. Didn't you sleep under it once at a Christmas party?
I think it was probably more than once.
Probably more than once, yeah.
Get waking up with Barney licking my face as well.
Oh, just in case we leave this in, Barney's a dog.
Barney's our other brother. We don't speak of him.
Put like your arm like out of the table, you just see like a massive long leg, like no. Remember nicking stuff off the table, like massive legs.
Oh, it's funny. Because they were so tall, he'd get, and a couple of them did this. They'd climb up onto so no one else has ever seen this apart from people in the UK, but it's the oven with the like the hob, like the stovetop, and then it carries on up, and it's got a canopy, which is the grill, which is like a separate thing at the top, and it's all this like freestanding unit. I've never seen it anywhere else.
Like a nan's oven. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just putting on some like old school toast.
And what they would do is they'd either steal a ladle, and you'd see them halfway up the stairs with this ladle in their mouth and the surprise look, and then you're like, give that back, you have to go and chase them. Or they used to try and lick the fat out of the grill, which is right on the top. So they'd stand up and put their paws on where all the dials are. And the amount of times I come home from college or whatever, and I'd be like, what's that smell? And I'd go to put the light on in the kitchen to see what the smell is. It's fucking gas. So I could have blown up the house a few times.
Yeah, Lurch has turned the gas on.
Yeah.
And kill everyone.
But it's like, how long has it been on? All day.
Yeah.
Reaching up for the fucking light switch.
Try to tell that to your home insurance guy when your house blows up. What happens? Oh, you'd learn to turn the gas on. What?
I guarantee up north they'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
That's what we call a category 1 explosion. Lurcher related.
Was it a brindle dog?
Yes.
It's just for the form. Just ask for it on the form. Oh, it was funny. I was just thinking, what horrors from our past are we going to unearth tonight, Kirsty? That was it. The doggy tried to kill us.
The doggy tries to blow the house up to get to the sweet, sweet Greece.
The retirement Greece.
All right, so my week in horror, the in-laws are staying with us, so that's...
Hey! Wah, wah.
Oh, I've got that on here somewhere. Is this...
Yeah! Oh, we've become that kind of show with a soundboard.
Thank you, Zencaster. There's a couple of movies I watched. I'm going to have a longer section in the Needful Things, because one of them I bought and one of them has been bought for me. But for now, I thought, because I don't really have much other than these two movies, which I'll get to, Cass sent me this thing. So Cass sent me this thing, 9 of the most haunted places to visit in Australia. So I thought I'd just read from a couple because they're not very long. Princess Theatre, Melbourne, Victoria. Melbourne's Princess Theatre's ghost is so prolific a seat is reserved for him on the opening night of performances. In 1880, seems a bit of, imagine if you couldn't get a seat to something.
I'd just be like, I'll have the ghost seat. How much is that? $20. Can I sit in the ghost seat, please?
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Give me the ghost seat.
I love Hamilton.
In 1887, Frederick Baker, known as Federici, took a leading role in the opera Faust. In his final scene, Federici fell through an onstage trapdoor. That's interesting, because that kind of ties into one of the movies I watched. Anyway.
Oh, possibly me too.
Oh, well, I'm doing it first, so quickly think of another movie.
Oh, shit! Why did I open my damn full mouth?
Federici fell through an onstage trapdoor after suffering a heart attack and soon died backstage. Wow, he fell through a trapdoor after suffering a heart attack. Onlookers were none the wiser, assuming it was part of the show.
That's how it always happens, like Tommy Cooper, like all these people.
Yeah.
You die on stage and just think it's part of the act.
Some even say he came out to take a final bow when the performance ended. Over subsequent years, there are many reports of a strange light flickering in the theatre, and a number of people have said they felt something brush past them in an empty corridor. Strangest of all are the reported sightings of Federici himself in the theatre, often at night, where he's reportedly seen to be watching shows and critiquing performances. He's still a jerk even after he died. Port Arthur, Tasmania. World Heritage listed, served as a convict settlement for almost 50 years, and more than 1,000 people died during this time. 1,000 people in 50 years. Bloody hell. A series of unexplained events at the site have been reported since the arrival of free settlers and have been noted by soldiers and other visitors in more recent times. The old punishment cell. Sorry, that's not funny. The old punishment cell is particularly known to be a hotspot for unusual activity.
I don't know what's the usual activity for like a haunted like form of prison.
Yeah, an old punishment cell.
The scratch marks in the wall again. Yeah, it's normal.
Don't put that down. That's normal. Arradale Lunatic Asylum, Ararat, Victoria. This abandoned lunatic asylum, which we would now more appropriately call a psychiatric unit or mental health hospital, thank you for that, in Ararat is believed to be haunted, with many deaths occurring in the facility during its 126 years of use. Maybe not as many as that bloody convict settlement after 50 years, bloody hell. People have reported being pushed and tickled and have heard strange banging noises. Along with patients who died in the facility, the site is also said to be haunted by a former nurse. I would say the patient doing the tickling and the nurse doing the pushing, like, get out of the way, I'm busy.
Maybe it's like a ghost that hasn't learned how to like move things fully yet, so just like struggling to like touch people. So it's just like when Patrick Swayze like tries to move a cup in Ghost, it's like that's all it can do. It's like, oh.
Next minute he's on a bloody potter's wheel.
Well, she's on the potter's wheel. That's kind of
They're
the point of
both on
that
the
scene.
potter's wheel.
She's on the potter's wheel.
Yeah, he was like a banker. Like she was the pottery version.
The pottery person. The potter.
There's only
potter.
room for one potter in this relationship. And that's why he got killed.
Oh, here you go. This is in South Australia. Although, to be honest, last time I was in South Australia, I was like, oh, I've got like a day before I do the thing I came down here for. I might go and visit these other places. And then it was like, yeah, it'll take you about 3 days to drive there. South Australia's big, you dickhead. North Kapunda Hotel, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not. South Australia has a solid reputation for being haunted. A solid reputation. Kapunda, a 1-hour drive north of Adelaide, oh, that's all right, was a busy mining town in the early 1800s, and the pub opened in 1849 to service a region. 50 years without a pub. Many stories of crime are linked to the hotel, including a few murders. A ghostly woman thought to be a sex worker killed in the pub. God. And a little girl thought to be a daughter. Oh, that's even worse. Are said to haunt the halls. Apparently, the ghost of a miner who died after having his leg amputated in the hotel can sometimes be seen cycling along nearby streets with one fucking leg.
He just cycles in circles.
Wow. Ghost Crime Tours, not ghost tours, Ghost Crime Tours, offers a paranormal lock-in at the hotel. Where you'll be basically just locked in.
Are they just putting the word paranormal in front of normal pub activities? Like,
Yes.
grabbing a lock-in, a paranormal lock-in. Ooh.
That'll be $80 next.
Yeah.
Ghost crime. Where's my wallet? I think it's there. Just like, like floating past you.
Monte Cristo Homestead, Junee, New South Wales. I think a friend of ours recommended this actually. And they said I don't know if they said they went there or they were going there with their sister, but apparently it's very, very haunted. It is most haunted places. Was constructed by Christopher William Crawley. Well, that's a farmer whose fortunes changed when he built a hotel near a new railway line in the 1800s. Nothing's good if it was ever involved someone named Crawley. Crawley and his family members lived in the homestead, and some of them also died there. This includes Crawley himself and his wife, both from illness. Apparently, neither of them have left the building.
Crawley is like the surname of the fella who's like the shifty lawyer in some like murder mystery.
Muppets movie.
Yeah.
And he's a spider as well.
Yeah. He's one of like the cockroaches.
More tragically, it said that one of Crawley's maids threw herself off the balcony. Or was pushed. In parentheses. When she discovered she was pregnant with Crawley's child.
Uh-oh.
Another of Crawley's illegitimate children, see, I told you he was evil, also born to a maid, is thought to haunt the property too. He's supposedly joined by a stable boy who burned to death in an arson attack. These are just a few of the ghosts said to roam the property. God, you get your money's worth at this place. And you can try to feel their icy presence for yourself on a ghost tour.
I'm still trying to get my head around the ghost theatre critics, just like sat there with a notebook, like, I don't get the references in this at all. Why is he holding a rectangle?
He sat there saying, boo. Fremantle Arts Centre, Perth, Western Australia. The building, now known as a Fremantle Arts Centre, was built by convicts in the 1860s as an asylum for those suffering from mental illness and poor women, which is basically the same thing. Patients were treated more like prisoners and the facility became overcrowded as it was deemed a solution to deal with people suffering from a range of conditions, including menopause and sunstroke.
Sunstroke?
Fucking sunstroke!
They were really getting desperate at that point, weren't they?
Everybody in like that time in Australia has probably like got sunstroke. They're just like, what's happening? Why is the sun on fire?
Every single person. Oh. The death of a woman at the hand of a violent inmate sparked the closure of the facility, and it was then used to house soldiers during World War II. This is when reports started of strange banging, whispering, and crying at night. Staff who later came to work in the Arts Centre have reported sudden changes in temperature, thought to be the work of ghosts. messing with the thermostat. Here's one, definitely. National Film and Sound Archive, Canberra, ACT. Celebrates and protects Australia's audiovisual heritage. But in a previous life, it was an anatomical institute. The building has housed many skeletons and other human and animal specimens, including Phar Lap's heart, that's a horse, and Ned Kelly's skull, not a horse. As a result, many ghost hunters say it's one of the most haunted places in Australia. I did a ghost tour there. In particular, the ghost of the founder and first director of the former Australian Institute of Anatomy, Sir Colin Mackenzie, is known to loiter in the halls on occasion. His ashes are housed in a wall behind a plaque that recognises him. So, whether in ghost form or not, he's literally in the building. Now, I remember they said, there's like people counters or the occupancy centres count thousands of entries and exits from the place every night, and that's all the ghosts. But there's also moths the size of sparrows called bogon moths that fly around, and I'm like, maybe it's the moths.
Yeah.
And then there's one time I was working in there, and this is before I did the ghost tour. There's one room in there that still used to be the mortuary, and the floor slopes is for the blood to drain off. It's called the green room. It's supposed to be very, very haunted, and people have been like, apparently the founder isn't very nice, and he pins people up against walls and grabs people's throats and things like that. There was an electrician apparently who was working in there, and he was like, "Nope, fuck that. Someone just fucking shoved me and just left and wouldn't come back and finish the work." I was like, fair enough.
I went there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you would have been there on a tour. There's heaps of ghosts. Take to all these different areas, and there are places like underneath that are really fucking spooky and scary, and like you open a door and it's just like the underground, and it's just like heaps of dirt and rocks and things. It's a bizarre place. It's a scary place. But I was in this room for ages waiting for the guy so I could train him on this system that we just installed, and then I'm like, fucking floor. Oh, wait, I know where I am. I was sat there on my own for ages. And the people in the ghost tour was like, yeah, and did anything happen? I was like, no, of course not. Cat's like nudging me. Shut up. Because I was being a jerk the entire ghost tour. No. Devil's Pool, Babinda Boulders, Queensland. This is another thing. I'm like, Queensland, I'll go. It'll be like 10 hours away. Devil's Pool, near Babinda in North Queensland, can't get there, is a stunningly beautiful place, but not all those who have been lured into its rainforest-fringed turquoise waters have come out alive. A notoriously dangerous swimming hole, 17 people have died there, mostly young men. I've read about this. According to Aboriginal legend, a love-struck woman named Ulana threw herself into the waters after being separated from her lover, Daiga, I'm going to say, who, in a Romeo and Juliet-style tale, was from a different tribe. Her spirit is believed to have never left the pool, and it's said that she now coaxes men in to join her in death. No thanks. Some people have also reported unexplained crying in the area, thought to be Ulana crying out for Daiga. I've heard of that place.
There's probably like one Aborigine Australian listener who's just like going to be writing in the comments like, Paul's just butchering them names, mate. He's going to write it in phonetics in the comments. Go stop messing it up.
I'll be totally let off the hook since I'm really not Australian in any way. Mushroom Tunnel, Picton, New South Wales. Picton, 90 minutes southwest of Sydney, is sometimes described as the most haunted town in Australia. When it was founded in 1821, the town was named Stone Quarry, and its best-known landmark is the Mushroom Tunnel, formerly known as the Red Bank Range Railway Tunnel. That's better. It's in this tunnel that a number of people have died, either accidentally or by suicide. The ghost of Emily Bollard, who was killed by a train in 1916, is perhaps the most famous. She is thought to be the white, flowing figure of a woman with no face, who has reportedly been sighted on a number of occasions. Elsewhere around Picton, a matron is said to haunt the old maternity ward. A young boy and girl and a bearded man, never trust a bearded man, are said to haunt the Wallandilly Shire Hall, and the jukebox at the Imperial Hotel has been known to fire up on its own, even when unplugged. Leave it unplugged. Save you money. Organised ghost tours no longer run in Picton.
Because there's no ghosts there.
Try to see or feel the departed for yourself. Or was it too risky? Or was it because it was too bloody risky? Probably the former.
Yeah.
They just had enough of the tours. Like, the ghosts stopped coming out. They're like, we're not tourist attractions.
So, look, I'm not going to visit. I'll probably visit one of those places just because of, distance. But anyway, that's interesting to know. I also watched In a Violent Nature, which I was really excited to see.
Is that the one where it's just the POV of the killer?
Yeah. Which is a great idea, you think. And then I thought, watching it, I was like, at what point did they realize that the killer is fucking boring and generally just walks around or sits about when there's no killing to be done? At what point did they think, oh, that's why no one's done it, because Michael Myers just sits in that house and waits for the rest of the night?
He was there for 7 hours overnight waiting for someone to turn up.
So even when, so most of it from his perspective, when it's from the killer's perspective, he just walks through the woods. Like, he's got a long way to walk. It's a good trek, so, good on him. But just walking through the woods, and he's not doing anything or witnessing anything, or he's a long dead resurrected killer. And then the next scene that you see from his point of view, he just walks back again. And there's just like there's a bit where he like drags this body of someone to this ranger station, and when he gets in there, he dumps the body and then he just like walks around like reading stuff and looking around like he's a tourist or something. A really boring holiday.
It sounds like someone playing Resident Evil. It sounds like someone doing that.
Yeah,
like that. Now let's look at this thing on the wall. That might give me a clue as to the net. That sounds really. Does he hum at least or anything like that? Does he like go along going? He's walking through the woods and then goes like, do 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 do. Oh, a bat!
So I was really excited to play the Friday the 13th game, but like it's randomized and only online play. So you get like you can't choose who you're going to be, and you randomly get selected to be the Jason or like the campers. And if you're playing as the campers, like Jason, this player who's playing as Jason is stalking you, but your only role is to just hide behind something, like set up a trap to potentially stop Jason for a little bit. And it's like hide in a pile of leaves. Jason can see you in the pile of leaves. It's like a bloody text prompt thing. It's literally one of the things is set up a rake on the floor. It's like, is he Sideshow Bob? Jason has stepped on a rake.
But he's wearing a hockey mask, so it's made no impact on him at all.
Yeah, that's right. Good job of wearing this hockey mask.
Good job of wearing the hockey mask. I just stood on a rake. That would have been painful.
He just goes, ugh.
That's literally how that goes. It reminds me of In a Violent Nature, it's kind of like Maniac, the one with Elijah Wood, where he's the POV murderer film.
That's actually good, though. I actually quite liked that. I think that does a POV thing better.
Yeah, it does. You don't really see Elijah Wood until like any time he goes past a mirror and he's just like looks at himself as like, hey, Elijah Wood, but I'm still here.
Because he's thinking, you can hear him like his internal narrative, but in this, he's like a undead monster, so he's not thinking anything. Or if he is, you don't get to know about it. I was thinking of other movies where I've seen that, because they said, oh, it's this brand new idea, no one's ever done it before, and see-through kills. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure they have.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, well, Black Christmas. Classic movie Black Christmas. A lot of that is from his perspective. Even like Halloween in bits, you get the heavy breathing behind the mask where he's watching like Laurie Strode as she... No, I'm not going to do it. As she's walking down the road.
There's an action film called Hardcore Henry, which it makes you feel a bit sick, because it's just loads of parkour, and you're just like running and jumping, and he's got like a gun in front of his hands and flailing about the place and jumping off shit. Like a first-person video game, but you're just some fella who's like running from people. Can't even remember any of the plot. It's one of them like asinine films, but It's all first person. You're just like jumping on the tops of trains and shit.
And there was one bit in it that piqued my interest when you hear all these bullshit things like, oh, this person threw up in the cinemas or all these people fainted in the cinemas or whatever, and you watch the movie and you're like, did you? And there's one part that's like, it's super gross the way he kills this girl, but it's also like really, really dumb as well. And I was just like, I was waiting for that moment and I was like, what's he going to, So I'm not going to spoil it since it's fairly new, but even that bit's a bit dumb. So that was a bit of a bust. And then I watched Oddity, which I was also really, really excited for.
You've already done two.
Kirsty watched it after me, so it was a really good movie. I'd highly recommend people to watch it. It was very scary, but I just had some issues with it.
The thing with Oddity, it's got a sense of humour. It's odd. It's odd itself, and it's got there is a sense of humour underlying it where things don't, and it does so many. The reason it's scary is because it does so many unexpected things that don't happen in other horror films that you're trying to watch it and you're thinking, oh, I pretty much know what's going on, but you don't. You never know what's going on because it changes and does mad stuff. The fact that the girlfriend character I love that character. That's a great character because there's this weird, like, all dressed in white hair, blind woman who's just walked in all ethereal and gone like, I've brought you a golem. And she's like, it's horrible. It's a weird present. I don't want it. Like, she's really blunt. And I love that. I love that, like, there's so many parts of horror films of people being polite and going, sure, yeah, oh, of course. And she's like, I'm not staying here overnight. I don't give a shit if you're blind and you've never been in this house before. I'm leaving.
She's like, can I help you to the door and no further?
Yeah, she's like, and the sister's like, will you make me some food? She's like, no, the kitchen's behind you. Fuck off. Like, no, I don't want you. I love that character. She's great. And then but you kind of expect that, oh, there's going to be some vengeance against her specifically because she suspects she was with the doctor before, they were having an affair or something like that. But then they have the dead woman warning the new girlfriend and going, get out, you're in trouble. And it's like, I didn't expect that to happen. And the fact that she just gets away as well, I didn't expect that. Loads of these things that you think, and it makes lots of other horror films look so lazy in the way that you just go, that's going to happen. Oh, it has. That's going to happen. Oh, it has. And this one, I was like, that bit with the trapdoor, I was like, I did not see that coming whatsoever. Like, she didn't. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, and then I thought, oh, no.
I thought she was going to be the wiser of it. And
she
just went straight fucking through.
She just falls straight fucking through it. And I was like, oh.
You dickhead.
So, like, literally, it's one of the only... Because normally when I'm watching horror films, and maybe it's because I've seen thousands of them, or, like, I've, studied film at university, and so they teach you to rip them apart and go, this is what'll happen, that'll happen, and blah, 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 setting up action. I was, like, completely blindsided by most of it. Like, what the fuck's going to happen? And at the end, I genuinely thought, like, oh, shit, he's got away with it. And they're going to do that, but he's just got away with it. And then
the bell, I liked that.
But it was so I found that really funny. And I think it's meant to be funny. It's not meant to be like, oh no, jump scare. It's meant to be like, he's fucking there.
Yeah, well, that was my response. I was like, yeah, gotcha.
Because he doesn't see any of the supernatural stuff. He literally doesn't see any of the like when he goes into the shop and he's like, he doesn't believe any of it. He's like, this is all shit. I'm a doctor. I'm a scientist. He doesn't see the golem and what the golem does, and he probably, whether he believes what the orderly says, but he never sees any of that. And then he just goes, gets it, and burns it, and nothing happens. He's literally got no reason to believe that any of this is. And I love that. Yeah. There's so much dread in that final scene where you're like, he's going to do it. And maybe he won't do it. Maybe this is like, he's not going to do it. And then he does it. And then it's a long scene where he's like looking behind himself and he can hear stuff. And then that like smash cut to the fucking bellhop. It does look weird, but it was like scary, but it was also funny. And it was like, that's why I love Irish horror films, because no matter what the Irish do in a film, there's always jokes in it. Even if it's the most depressing film you've ever seen in your entire life. It's like slipping some gags there. And I liked So the cat. So I want to see. Damien McCarthy made another film called Caveat, which was his first film. I've not seen that, but I've not seen that. There's a rabbit like with a little. She goes into the little cupboard where there's all these like little curios in there. So that rabbit's in that.
Yeah, I saw
film.
that. I did notice that. Yeah.
And then it's got Carolyn Bracken, who plays the sister and the wife. Like, she was brilliant in. I watched a film called. Let me get this right. And Callan Colin, that's Irish for The Quiet Girl, and it's a brilliant film. It's like got quite a few little horror elements in it. To be honest, it's just about a little girl who ends up going to spend summer with a different part of the family because her family is massively chaotic. And like Caroline Bracken is really good in that film. And Tig Murphy, who plays the guy with the one eye, and he's got one eye because he had an accident with a bow, and he just incorporates that into a lot of his acting. So he was been in Black Sails, he's been in Vikings, and he plays but that was that. I thought that first opening bit where I was like, genuinely, what would you do? Because in most horror films, I think you're sat there, I know I am, going, well, just simply do not go into there. You know what I mean? It's like, don't play with the Ouija board. Don't do that. It's a silly thing to do. But then when you're faced with that, it's like there's a lunatic outside who you don't trust him. He looks weird. He's a patient of you. He's a psychiatric patient, and he's like trying to tell you. And there's loads of like bits where you can see her sort of start to change her mind, where he's like, oh I'll go and call the police. Call them. Like, if you've got a phone. And she's like, oh, why would he do that? And she can't make her mind up. And I was like, what would you do in that situation? Genuinely, what would you do? And you probably would just stay in there. Because
I don't think she made the wrong decision. I just would not have gone and got in a tent and zipped it up.
But that moment when the scare, even scarier than him putting his head around the tent, is when she sees in the camera.
On the video.
Yeah, because that made me go,
and you're
shit!
Like, oh no! And then when she opens
and then
there,
and they, do you know what? They never. That was another unexpected, that you would think that camera is there set up as like a Chekhov's gun type thing, like that's gonna pop up later and it's gonna be significant. But actually, no one in that, like, obviously the sister can't see it, but the doctor and the girlfriend, they look at the camera and they never see that. They don't see it. So do you know what I mean? And it's like, all this so-called investigation that took place that he talks about. There's just loads of things that leave you off kilter, and I came out of it, like, watched it. I was like, I love that. That was brilliant. And if you start then picking away at it, you can pick away at it and go, hang on, if there was such a big investigation into this murder, why did they not pick up a camera which recorded the whole fucking thing? You know what I mean?
Like, wasn't she doing like a time lapse and like doing up the house or something?
She was doing that, and then she was like, also she was on the phone to her sister saying, because the sister's obviously, psychic, because she says on the phone to her, all I've seen is a few orbs. I've not seen anything else, so I don't think it is haunted. She's obviously set it up because her sister's gone like, oh, you should also record and see if there's any ghosts there and stuff. But then when they never see what she's seen on that camera, even though they're flicking through it constantly and watching so that's what I mean about it never does what you think it's going to do, and so you're always on edge. All the way through, I was on edge, going, what's going on? What's going to happen now? And I thought it was brilliant.
I think they made them twin sisters to like save on casting as well. They were just like, let's just have them be twins. Put the other one in a blonde wig.
Well, do you know what? They don't even look alike. That was because they've made her look so, given her like a really short white hair and these weird outfits, and like they've got such a different, obviously like a different energy about them. That I think you could, like, the guy. I think they probably stuck a line in there. Because when the orderly is saying to the doctor, he's like, you never told me your wife had a twin sister. And he goes, what do you mean? And he's like, you never told me your wife had a blind. I was like, oh, they've stuck that line in there, because I bet a lot of people in early screenings were like, oh, are they twins? Oh, it does. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't, because they're so different. I think they probably stuck that line in and put two lines in to probably like say, oh yeah, shit, they are twins. Because I don't think the rest of you I think they're sisters, but like you don't get that they're twins, and I think that is kind of important for the supernatural connection type thing.
They certainly got their money's worth out of that house set. I think like more than 2/3 of the film are set just in that one like barn conversion.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Escape to the Country, And it was very much like, this is our mystery house.
Yeah, that's right.
It used to be an asylum, and it's got the living room has to be upstairs. And you're like, what?
The Doctor would definitely be one of them fellas on Grand Designs who's like just sunk his money into. He's decided to build like a basement on it, and the fella's just like the guy from Grand Design, just like, you decided to build a basement entirely out of wicker. This doesn't seem economically feasible, but he's going to do it anyway, and he's just fired the project manager.
Yeah. I mean, I like the whole like the way they've got the woman doing like the renovations and taking videos and stuff as if she's going to put them on. You can't really place it in time as well, because they've got like a digital SLR and they've got smartphones, but then like you can't really place it anytime. Even in the last sort of 20 years, you wouldn't be able to. Do you know what I mean? You don't really have a sense of time to it. And then when they're in the hospital, that hospital looks obviously very old and decrepit and like not looked after. And they've got like, you know, AM, FM radio in there and stuff. And it's like, that's another way that they've like just made it really. And the way the Doctor sort of dresses in the car he drives is as if he's from out of like the late 60s. You know, and then like his office looks very much like it's not been updated for 40 years, but then the house is like super modern when they decorate it. Yeah, it's just there's loads of little bits like that. They just it puts you a bit off kilter and makes you go, what the fuck's going on? And none of this ties up, and none of it's really making sense. But that's what I liked about it.
Like his office as well in the hospital. It's just like it's like a boiler room or something. It's like yeah, he's a creepy doctor.
Well, straight away, you know, I was about 5 minutes in, I was like, well, he's done something, because he's, and Gwilym Lee is not a bad actor. Do you know what I mean? Gwilym Lee's a great actor. So it's like, right, they've told him to be like that. They've said, be weird, be cold, be distant, and be not very attached to this woman, you know, and be kind of like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to work. Because he's not playing it like that because he's not very good at acting. He's playing it like that because they've told him, you've got to give the impression that it's you. Because we're going to blindside people with it's like, it's not you. Oh, it is you. You know what I mean?
His wife's like, there's a shifty man outside with a knife. Oh, right. I'll see you later. I've got no phone signal. Oh, well, that's bad, isn't it? See you later. Bye.
Yeah. Look, I did really like it, and I do highly recommend it. I felt a little bit shortchanged with that golem monster.
But he moves like he moves constantly.
Oh no, but you didn't see it like, you know, crush anyone's head or do anything to anyone. You don't see it do anything.
I wasn't that bothered to be. I didn't want to see. I thought that would have cheapened it a lot to see, like, because the scare. First of all, it looks fucking scary, right? Then it's got like the holes in the head for it. It looks fucking terrifying. And then it does when it lifts its head up and she sees it's like moved without it.
She looks down.
That's fucking terrifying. Yeah. And then other times it's just kind of like I like every time it moves to the other side of the table, but it's just only got one hand on the table. The other one's like casually on his leg, because it looks like he's just been caught, sort of like he's been wandering about the house and someone's come in and he's gone, oh shit. Hello. It's like there's no reason for him just to move to that other chair on and look more relaxed. Why are they doing that? Do you know what I mean? But it's because it moves a lot, and then when it finally does move, it's like shit. He's moving, and I didn't really want to see it a big effect where it's like, because I think the reason it didn't kill him is because she's weak, right? I think that's what they were getting at. Like she's really weak, so she can't make it kill him like it killed the other guy, but then it's a bit more, and then you're expecting him obviously every single time you go, that's what's going to happen. It doesn't happen, so they've obviously gone, right, let's rip. So what happens next? Well, obviously he kills him. He doesn't kill him, no, do something else, and they just seem to be writing it like that, and I think that's really cool to just keep like confounding the audience so that you end up just watching it instead of trying to work it out, you know?
Yeah.
The only real jump scare I had in the film as well, like the blind woman is like very subdued and quiet. And the only time she raises voice is when the Doctor's like new girlfriend starts taking like random things out of the golem.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Put it back.
Put it back.
I thought the worst, because it doesn't, do you know what? It doesn't really do your traditional jump scares either, because it's just sort of I like the beginning when she's talking to the guy through the hatch, and all they do is just don't leave a gap in the conversation. So she says something, and then he goes yeah, and it like cuts between the two, and I was like but all they did is not leave a gap in the conversation, and it just makes you go, hang on, he's supposed to go talk gap, and it didn't. So it wasn't a traditional like smash cut jump scare. It was more like a just like you're waiting for the pause between in a conversation, and it doesn't come, and the guy's like yes, just do this, like, and it's like whoa, he's really insistent that she's in trouble, and you're going through the same thought process as her, going like, is he for real? Like, because you don't see anyone going in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't do that where the audience has seen something. It's quite Hitchcock in that way. A lot of stuff is hidden from the audience, so you actually don't know what's going on either, and you just got to rely on what you're being told.
Kirsty, since you've just covered watching Odyssey, what else did you do?
I've been reading book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let me just get it up, because I've been reading 2 books of short stories, and I'm just trying to remember which one's which.
There was a haunted suit we heard about last.
Oh,
last
no,
time.
that was Heart-Shaped Box, so that was a novel by Joe Hill. I've read that. So I've been reading Everything's Eventual, which is a 2002 collection of 11 short stories and 3 novellas by Stephen King. So this was a bit easier to read than the current one I'm reading, which is 4 Past Midnight, which is just 4 novellas. And the second one is quite, as I mentioned last week, it's a bit hard going because it's sort of like plods on. And I'm on the 3rd one now, which does like out of 4. But there's some really scary, like really great stories in this. So the very first one, Autopsy Room 4. A lot of them are collections, so they've been in like the New Yorker, or they've been in other publications or stuff like that. The first one, Autopsy Room 4, is horrible because it's basically a guy who's been bitten by a snake and paralyzed, and it makes you look like you're dead, but he's alive, and he's in an autopsy, and that's fucking terrible. Yeah, that's like and you sort of think, oh yeah, he's gonna get away because it is it is Stephen King. He usually has a happy ending if the person's not done anything really truly bad, but still, it's just like it's really sweaty, like reading it and going, oh, what the hell. 1408, which is what the film was developed from, is in this collection as well, about the haunted hotel room. I have to say, I think that film's great, and I'm so glad they made a film of it, because it doesn't fit in the short story. I think it needed to be a full book. As a short story, it kind of doesn't get going. You know what I mean? It's like it's over too fast. So I think that was one that was quite good. And I'm trying to think, like there's so many. There's like 11 stories. So The Man in the Black Suit as well is like it's a really short little thing about a kid that thinks he meets the devil, and that's really effective. I think he's so great at writing short stories, and it's annoying that like short stories are not a thing that people want to publish anymore, because that's where he came from, and that's where a lot of horror authors came from. They wrote short stories, and but publishers are not that interested in them anymore, unless you're Stephen King. They're like particularly interested in them. It's quite sad, really, because some of them are really, really effective. Some of them would be way too thin to switch out into a film, but some of them, like 1408, it's not enough of it, and it's like, where's the rest of it? What happens? So it's good, especially if you're sort of, like me, a very busy cosmopolitan woman. You can't be plowing into a novel all the time. Maybe you just want to read a little bit on the train, or a little bit on your commute to your busy job.
Stephen King seems to hit out of the park whenever he does like a short story collection. Like I've got the different seasons one, and like 3 of those are like some of the best films ever made. Like Shawshank Redemption and Stand By Me are just two of the stories from that one bit. Like At Pupils in the middle, and there's another one like The Breathing Method. But like At Pupil, At Pupil, Stand By Me and Shawshank Redemption are all pretty decent films as well, and they all come from the same book. Like 3 out of 4 of them are just amazing.
Yeah, the other one that's really great is in that collection is Lunch at the Gotham Cafe, which is just fucking odd. And it just completely relies on a person who's gone nuts just in the moment that someone walks into a cafe. The maitre d' has lost his mind. It's snapped. He pulls. Someone just loses their mind and snaps, and they hit it at just the exact right moment that it snaps, and all this stuff happens. You couldn't put that in a film. It wouldn't work. It would only work on the page, I think. I think if you tried to make a short film out of it, it wouldn't work because you'd have to build up. You'd have to have so much other stuff establishing what's going on, and I'd like to see more of these adapted. But I think some of them are unadaptable, and that's fine. They should just be stories.
I remember reading, I think it was Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and they had there was a few in that. There was one based in a recording studio, and then there was one that became The Night Flyer. And it was about this, I'm sure it was like this kid and his granddad in this like little Cessna plane, except he was a vampire. But he was like a vampire with a plane. I thought that was really fun. And then it became the movie The Night Flyer, which looks awful. I've never seen it. But.
Yeah, not all of these are like a horror stories either, really. It's like there's one about a member of John Dillinger's gang, and it's like the aftermath of a heist where they're all on the run. It's not horror related. It's just, I don't know. He's obviously just gone, oh, that's quite interesting. I wonder what happens with that, and just written it. And he leaves. There's all notes through it as well about how he came to the stories and why he came up with them. But it's called Everything's Eventual, and it's a collection of short stories, which is now 22 years old. She's mad.
Ooh.
I know, yeah. I was like, oh, you read it, you think, oh, this must have come out recently. Nope, 22 years ago that came out. I just left university the year before. And that was my week in horror.
Jed.
Yeah, so actually, this is a good thing to come off the back of, because one of the films that I've watched this week was the new adaptation of Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
And that sort of ties in with keeping with the Stephen King theme. Overall, it was just a basic sort of retread of the source material. I didn't think it was as good as the 70s TV version, or there's even like another version from like 2004 with Rob Lowe. Andre Braugher was in it as well. No way. But that's the 2004 version, but it's pretty much a retread of the same old. But it's one of them films as well where, like you said before, where it's hard to trace. Like, you think that it might be set in the 70s. All the cars are dead old, and that the town looks dead old, and everyone's like listening to the radio and stuff. But in some other bits, they're kind of using more sort of modern things. I don't think you see any like smartphones or anything, but it's really hard to sort of place where it's all set. One of the other things is like the vampires are just like floaty glowing people. Like every time that you see a vampire, it's pretty much just like floating behind someone's window, floating around in the air. Also, I'm probably going to butcher his name, but Pillow Aspect, the fellow was Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah,
he plays the creepy antique dealer, Richard Straker in this adaptation, and he is literally like the creepiest fella ever. And there's one point where he asks like two kids who are walking down a dirt road if they need a lift, and he's just like looking at them. It's just like, yeah, he's literally gonna kidnap them kids. And in like 2 scenes later, he literally kidnaps one of them, puts him in a sack, and feeds him to a vampire. It's like he wasn't hiding anything. Stephen King's novel is probably his early sort of forte into a lot more sort of supernatural monsters, really. I mean, it's sort of obviously one of the early 70s novels he did. I really like the Master Vampire in any of the adaptations of Salem's Lot, because it's literally just a Nosferatu. Like the massive teeth, and it's not like Interview with the Vampire where it's like sexy looking vampires. It's just a horrible monster fellow with massive teeth and big long fingers. That's how I want my vampires, terrifying. Not like I don't want no sexy vampires. Nicholas Corvetti is one of the kids who gets turned into a vampire, but he's also like Homelander's son in The Boys. And in this Salem's Lot, he's kind of still a kid as well. And it's like, I've seen him in The Boys season 4, and he's a teenager. It's like, when was this filmed? Like, how quickly has he grown? Like, I've literally seen him in a TV series like earlier this year, and he's about like 2 foot taller, and has like a big deep voice. And then I'm watching a film that's come out this year, and he's a little kid again. It's like, has he just got some like fountain of youth potion in the back?
Force perspective and Stan Winston.
Yeah, force perspective. It's like, why is that chair absolutely massive? Don't worry about that. Like, everything in this room's off to a slight slant.
It's funny, we watched, and this is going back a very long time ago, even though I feel like it was like last week. Me and Kath watched The Strain.
Oh, yeah.
When they did that again. And the first time you see the vampire like off the plane, which is the same sort of style vampire you're talking about, and it just sort of like puts its hand on this guy's head and just crushes his skull into the floor. And we're like, oh, it's like 8:30. Yowza.
It's like in Blade 2. The vampires in Blade 1 were just too sexy. So they decided, apart from the one that's in the bed, who's just like farting, there's like an obese vampire. But the vampires in Blade 2 are like the Uber vampires.
Yeah.
Who like pop their jaws open and have like a horrible tongue. It's like, what have you done to the fella out of Bros? You've made him look like a smackhead with a snake in his mouth.
Oh, what was that movie with Ethan Hawke? Is it called Daybreakers or something?
Oh yeah, Daybreakers.
Yeah.
It's got Willem Dafoe in it as well.
And if they don't get blood, they turn into that like monstrous bat creature thing.
It's like they call them subsiders because they all live in the bait. I like the twist in that because everybody in the world's a vampire, and like humans like on the run, but like they're running out of blood. And there's a bit where it's like they go to like a coffee vendor, and he goes like, now with only like 2% blood. And this guy's like, I want more blood in this. He goes, no, you can't have more blood in this. I want it now. Turns into a...
I remember in that, it was probably the technology at the time, and I'd, watched it a long time after it was released, but I remember he's driving that car, and he's got like this tiny, like thin... Hasn't he got like a tiny little video outside, like a camera? And I'm like,
yeah,
why isn't that just the whole fucking window? It's almost like a tank view. It had this like tiny little, like 3-inch square screen that he looked out, and that's the camera of the outside of the car. And I'm like, surely they could make that bigger. That's just shit. Really? It's supposed to be in the future.
He has to drive his car through like the small display that he used to like reverse the car.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, is this set in the future? Just make the whole fucking window a screen. Anyway.
But yeah, if you need a world full of vampires, you just literally just put contact lenses in people and just make them a bit paler. Where's me blood?
Slick that hair back, mister.
But yeah, with moving on from that actor from The Boys who seems to have found the fountain of youth because he's got younger in a film that came out later than The Boys. There's another fountain of youth, which is another film that I've watched this week, which is The Substance, which is probably one of the most, I wouldn't say it's like one of the most disgusting things I've ever watched, but probably the last 10 minutes is one of the most explosively batshit insane parts of a film I've ever seen in my entire life. But the basic rundown of it is that Demi Moore plays this slightly fading actress called Elizabeth Sparkle. I don't know where they came up with that name, but
porn.
Yeah, probably. But Demi Moore absolutely gives it an absolute all out. I don't recall seeing her in a film or anything really decent for a very long time. But this is absolutely insane. But the basic gist of the film, without too many spoilers, is that she's starting to sort of lose her fame, and she just sort of becoming a bit more of a recluse in her apartment. And she was a famous actress, but now she does like exercise programs on like cable TV. And then like the head of the cable network is played by Dennis Quaid, who puts in a performance as probably the sleaziest person that you've ever seen on the face of the earth. Like the introduction to his character is he's smoking and he's dipping shrimp in cheese and then just like smearing it all over his face.
That's the life.
Saw like a press interview with Demi Moore talking about it, and she's just like, yeah, Dennis Quaid is just the sleaziest guy ever. So we had to stop take because his chewing was just driving everyone insane. He's just like rubbing bits of cheese on his face and that. But she starts to see which way the wind's blowing and that she's going to soon be sort of replaced on her TV show. When she's like doing a hospital checkup, the orderly gives her like this USB stick that advertises the substance, which is like a way to become younger or to like live a better lifestyle. And it's left up for interpretation what exactly it is. And then she basically gets a little card that tells her to go to this random security safety deposit box in some absolute shithole part of town in Los Angeles. For some reason as well, it's got a broken shutter. Like the whole thing is just like really high tech. But she has like a broken shutter in like the Skid Row, and she basically goes in, gets it out, and then it's got like these bunch of vials. One's called like the activator, one's the stabilizer, and the other is like these food pouches. And then she decides that she's going to use it, so she like strips off, and then what she basically does is she injects it into herself, and then basically the other actress, which is Margaret Qualley, who's Andy McDowell's daughter, she basically crawls out of Demi Moore's back, and it's like basically she becomes like her consciousness is like housed in the two bodies, and like they have to switch every 7 days, and then the only person that she has to talk to that is in charge of the substance is just like this disembodied voice on the other side of the phone. And Margaret Qualley's character calls herself Sue and decides to like apply for the job that she was that Elizabeth Sparkle was doing in her stead. And then she becomes like an ultimate famous person in like the public eye. But it's all about like the dynamic between the two of them and how she completely like abuses it, and like the body horror aspect of it just absolutely goes insane. I've without like giving too much away, some of the actual like practical effects in this film are beyond a joke. Some of the most grotesque things I've seen in a long time. And Demi Moore, it absolutely gives it everything. And another thing we were noticing, because we were like my partner Laura, she follows Demi Moore on Instagram, and there's like nude scenes where Demi Moore's like in the mirror before she injects the serum, and she like you literally see everything. But like if you follow her on Instagram, she's really toned, and like she literally hasn't let up since the G.I. Jane days. It's like Demi Moore has to be one of the only actresses to have a body double to make herself look worse in the mirror.
Oh, what a flex that would be!
I know, yeah.
You look too good. We need an ugly body double. I'd do that job. I'm like, I'll do it.
It's been that bad as well. You want to see it like. At some point we'll talk about like after you two have seen it, like the practical effects and like the way that they make her body completely like decompose and like devolve into an absolute mess is just insane. She ends up becoming like something out of it is a horror film, but it's literally something out of a horror film.
Jed's asking for his money back at the Odeon. It was like something out of a horror film.
I wanted Despicable Me 5. 24. Get out. But yeah, and the practical effects that they use in the last third of the movie is just don't watch this film if you've got food in front of you, because you may lose it.
What a review.
I have to say, one of my skills, if everyone's got a sort of weird secret superpower that's a bit shit, one of mine is I could definitely still scarf down a pizza no matter what I'm watching. I'm like, what's bad that makes me feel sick.
It's like in 30 Rock where she says, "You want to see me shotgun this?" And they're like, "Oh God, she means the pizza."
Like, I was thinking about that. And I was like, films that have made me physically sick, and like some of the lists are just like two films that have made me actually physically sick. One of them is Ichi the Killer, because there's a bit in this Japanese film where there's a policeman who's like the creepiest looking policeman ever, who has like 2 rings on the side of his mouth so he can open his mouth like a snake. And he's supposed to be the policeman, and he's trying to interrogate someone. So he's got a guy hung up from the ceiling in chains, and he's thinking, what can be a worse torture than just hanging him from the ceiling in chains? Oh, but he gets a pan of oil and just pours it all over his body. That made me sick. And there's another Asian film, which I believe is from Hong Kong, which is part of the Guinea Pig series, which is a series of really extreme Japanese horror films. And one of them is called Mermaid in the Manhole. And this artist has become famous for his like scenes of like devastation and pollution. And he decides that he needs to get more inspiration. So he goes down into a sewer and he finds a mermaid. And the mermaid says she'll become his muse, but he has to paint a picture of her using the different coloured pus from like boils and scales. And it's just like this woman in a mad, horrible costume. And he's just like dipping his paintbrush in like boils to make like the red paint. And he's just like, ugh.
I would simply just say no to that mermaid.
It's just like it's in a box set of about 6 films, and they're all about as equally as worse. Like some of them, one of them's like The Flower of Flesh and Blood, and it's just literally a man dressed as a samurai slowly dismembering a woman. I think it was Alec Baldwin ended up calling the FBI because it was on like some cable TV station in America. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" Like,
I wanted Despicable Me too.
But yeah, The Substance is definitely one to watch if you. It's one of the movies that's become very much a cult classic, even while it's still out at the moment, because it's been on a fairly small release, and the last third of the movie, there's more blood and horrificness than the front row of a Gwar concert. Honestly, it's just mental. The last 10 minutes of this film erupt into some of the maddest shit you've ever seen in your entire life. It's like a trauma film on acid, but with a budget of like multiple millions of pounds. And also the writer and director of this, I'm probably going to butcher her name, which is Coralie Faraget, is a French film director, and she's absolutely amazing. So she takes her main influences from David Cronenberg, John Carpenter, David Lynch, and Michael Haneke. Like these are all like some really good influences, and she wrote and directed The Substance as well, and she also directed an episode of The Sandman. So she's very much an up and comer. And if the Substance, which is only a second film of writing and directing, is anything to go by, then she will certainly be someone to check out, because it
did win Best Screenplay.
I know, yeah, it absolutely floored me. I thought I would watch it just because there was getting the hype, but like both me and Laura were just like left at the end of the film. We watched this on a Sunday afternoon last week. We just like it ended. We were just there. We were like, should we have some lunch now? It's like, yeah, probably, maybe not. And it was like early afternoon, and we just seen like 700 pints of blood. We like poured all over the place. Like, Jesus Christ.
Let's just go to bed. It's 2 PM. I said, let's go to bed.
Yeah, the Substance, the fountain of youth, but to be heeded with caution, because a younger version of yourself would crawl out of your back and try to kill you.
I'm so gutted I missed that casting call, because if you told people, like, do you know, I've got my first ever professional acting job as Demi Moore's body double, they'd be like, fuck, yeah, all right, she's doing okay. And it's like, look at how flabby and disgusting I am. It's like, that's me.
I didn't tell you to watch it.
Just pick a different film that she's in. Like, oh yeah, in the other film she's in, the one where she's fit.
The army one.
Yeah, whatever the army one is.
With Robert, what's the one? Is it Indecent Proposal where Robert Redford's like trying to cook old Woody Harrelson?
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't I 12 when that came out? I don't think that'd work.
So, you shouldn't be in this, Buckies.
Just going to steer this back on track.
Welcome to Needful Things.
I haven't got any needful things.
What do you do with your life?
Other stuff, like, you know, I read a book and watched a film and stuff.
Jed, do you have any needful things?
Yeah, I've got a couple, yeah.
All right. Well, let's do Jed's and then we'll do mine because mine involves a quiz. So we'll do a
Ooh.
quiz. We'll finish strong on a quiz
Right.
or very weak on a quiz.
So I was looking for sort of gifts. I was gonna buy anything really, but I was just trying to think if I was gonna buy a gift, what was I gonna buy? And so I think I posted a brief one in our chat earlier in the week, but the whole Instagram page is just this girl called Polly there, and she does like horror themed Polly Pocket, like Polly Pocket
I've seen
mashups.
these.
Like loads of them are like there's one with The Shining, which I've shared previously, but she's done one that's like Pennywise, where he's like in the sewer. There's another one where it's the set from Nightmare Before Christmas. It's just like there's one with the house out with Scream, like and with like Chucky and Tiffany. These are all like little hand done individual sort of mashups. I think some of the components must be 3D printed. But there's just loads of them. Like some of the parts aren't even some of them aren't even horror related. There's some like Beauty and the Beast ones. There's even one where it's like SpongeBob SquarePants, where they're drawn like the Krusty Krab. But overall, there's a lot of horror themed ones, and the one with The Shining is an absolute treat because it just looks like the hotel. They've done like multiple rooms of the hotel. There's like different floors.
Yeah.
Like 3 characters. You got the twins in it. And but that's
It's so good.
I was like, really, I know, yeah. It's like what would you if you were crafty and you were into horror stuff? This is just mental. Also, there's one where it's the Spirited Away one is really good because it's like the theater. You got like the No Face and like all the little random bits and pieces.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
the basement with all the dust mites in it as well. When I was on a sort of a binge of trying to find stuff for Halloween, I was like, maybe not gifts, but what if I was looking for like decorations? And when I was looking around for decorations, one of the first things that came up, and I don't know how this would even be a decoration because it actually points into your house, and all this is going to do is scare you. Where it's a decoration where it's like a person who like looks into the window. So I've just posted a picture in the chat, and it's just like a creepy person with a 5 o'clock shadow and a hood up who like looks into the window. And I was like, well, like it looks into your window. All the advertisements on Amazon or every other gift shop that you can get it from. It's basically it's basically looking into the window. And I was looking at it, I was like, it seems familiar. And I was like, what does it remind me of? And I was like, then it came to me exactly what it reminded me of. One of the things it reminded me of is, I don't know if anyone else had this, but there used to be these catalogues that you used to get for like your nan used to get or your mum called the Betterware catalogue. And sometimes, a lot of the time, like they'd have a man who'd come and pick up the catalogue every couple of weeks. No, the man wasn't the fellow who's looking through the window. But I know you think that's probably where this is going. One of the things that I always remembered in the Betterware catalogue is it always had like accessibility things, like shoe trees or like random things to help old people around the house. But one thing it had, and I swear to God, every old person that I knew at the time was really into this in the 90s, which was dolls that don't fit. That all it is just like a one-sided doll. Like it doesn't even have a face, but it's just like a child that looks into a fucking corner.
Why? That's terrifying. That's like Blair
Who the
Witch.
fuck would want that?
Why?
I don't know, but like
No, thanks.
But it's like there's loads of these. Did you not see these in the 90s? Like I literally, my nan had like 2 of these in a little bungalow. Look, it's a doll. You don't even have faces either. Like if you were to turn that round, it's not even a face. It's just a flat head.
Oh no! What the hell was going on in the Betterware catalogue as well?
Incredible.
Yeah, it was in the Betterware catalogue where it's like
How did they advertise them?
It was just like a wall-facing, a corner-facing child doll.
Why? I don't understand what benefit you're getting of this. Like, you just want to scare the shit out of yourself and also visitors.
Or are you a horrible person and you want a child forever naughty put in the corner in your house?
No, yeah. This will happen to you.
You can berate them.
If that was in my nan's house, I would have punted it over the fence the first time I ever saw it.
Oh,
Goodbye.
that's nuts. Although I'm kind of wish you could get them now because God, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? To just stick that in someone's house.
Oh, I'd just leave that in work. Yeah.
I'd get everyone with that.
I'd just find lots of different. I'd basically get a room in work and then put in on our computer system. You can say, "Oh, there's an issue in the room," and you can. I'd just be like, "There's like things moving. I feel like they're moving on their own. Could you just go and look?" And then you'd leave that in the corner. Just wait for the scream.
To move away from the terrifying, either dolls that face the corner or a Halloween decoration that faces into your house. I posted this in our group the other day, and I only want to mention it on here because I want to post it onto our Facebook page at some point, which it's 100% not real, but this is the listening to the Wolfman take a piss and other dreary drainers tape. It's just the writing on the front. It goes, Dracula is a freak who listens to piss, and this is his personal library of all the monsters pissing. And then you have the back of the tape, which absolutely this is making me laugh for days. And it goes, side 1, Wolfman's howling piss, Mummy's trickle piss, Breach's piss lagoon. It goes, side 2, Frankenstein brackets huge piss warning, invisible man. Invisible man brackets ambient piss. And it goes, and finally the tape is ended with skeletons crying because they can't piss but really want to. And then there's a little blurb as well that goes, this program is honestly a violation of trust. The parties involved did not know they were being recorded, but thankfully monsters are not allowed in courtrooms. So there will be 0 charges pressed and all proceeds will go to Dracula. Maybe if you're rich enough for long enough, you start doing fucked up shit like this. Yes, Dracula is rich. It's like he's got tired of eternal life and now he just goes around recording monsters having a piss.
I would love to know what the actual cassette is. Because if it's like Rick Astley or something, that'd be
definitely.
Have you seen my Spandau Ballet tape? Not that one.
Although you've got to imagine that a lot of the ultra rich probably have a very similar collection.
But Demi Moore's got loads of those.
Wow.
Collection like WWE wrestlers like going to the toilet. Andre the Giant, massive dump.
Don't know how to follow that, but I'll try.
Let Jed go last in future because it's
Yeah. I'll have to cut this. So I was out today with the kids and we were in a shopping centre and I had to turn on my heels and drag them into a shop so I could purchase this perfect Halloween shirt from a place called Lowe's, which is typically where you go to get like beer o'clock hats and shirts with fish on them and stuff like that. Just a crazy, crappy Hawaiian shirt outlet. I've tried to model it, as you can see. I'll just put it in the chat.
That's pretty funny.
Now, when I first saw this, I saw the pumpkin, the jack-o'-lantern, I saw the bats and the house and the webs, and I was like, oh, that's an awesome shirt. The material's that cheap, like shiny stuff, so it's not great. But then, when I wore it and took the photos of me wearing it, I'm like, it's all fucking cats. It's like 90% cats. It just looks like I'm a cat lover or something. People are going to be like, there you go. It's like cat lover.
Cats and lollipops. It looks a little bit less
cat lover. Cats and lollipops. It just looks like a cat shirt.
I think Lewis would love that if you decide it's not for you. Bring it to Bali with you. He'll wear that every day of the week.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you something else. So if I was to buy a shirt or a t-shirt or whatever, I go to the rack and I get large. Done. No problems. This might tell you a bit more about the store and its patrons. This is a kids wear 16. And it's not tight or anything. It fits really well. I could have got the 14, but I was like, oh, large. And it was it's like down to my knees. And I'm like, is this the style or medium, small, extra small. And then I was like, these are fucking kids ones now. So yeah, kids 16 is the one that fits me.
What, 16? Is that age 16? Or like...
I guess. I don't know.
Women's
It's not clear.
16? Or I don't know what that was meant to be.
No.
Maybe like
yeah.
Chinese kids are just like really massive.
Well, it's one of those shit like you get like a giant truck driver with a goatee beard, aged 58, would go there to get a shirt that says "Still Fishing" on it. It's that sort of place. So,
and a place where they have a big mouth Billy Bass that plays like "You come from a land down under."
Yeah. And the other thing I've got is much, much more special. One of our top fans, and it's a short list, one of our top fans, my father-in-law, David, who has contributed a lot to this podcast, and he's bought lots of cool things. The card game we've got to play, the B-movie card game we've got to sort out this season and play that. That's awesome. So there's a YouTube channel, if you're not aware of it, called Dark Corners, which is like a cult cinema sort of channel. And we'll have to give him a good call out for this, because I hadn't realized. I opened it all up and looked at it. It's awesome. They've got this Dark Corners horror movie quiz book, and I didn't realize. I just opened the front, because I just like flicked through it and whatever. But I opened the front page, front cover, and it's got like a stuck like post-it note in there, and it says Dark Corners for Dead Reckoning, and it's signed. It looks like it's signed Dark Corners, sort of. I'll put the post, but that's awesome. So they've actually dedicated it to us.
Oh, how?
As
Sorry,
a
how did...
fellow, horror enthusiast.
How did they know, though?
Because David would have contacted them and said, this is for my son-in-law who runs this podcast, Dead Reckoning, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
And they've,
cool.
I didn't even realize that. That's awesome. And it also says that there's a custom, a unique YouTube link, which I'll post when this episode comes out. Here is a link for your exclusive bad movie review. And it's like a unique video they've put up. So that's awesome. I'll have to have a look at that and put it up. So I thought we would, and I'll just show you the photos of how it came. It kind of ruins it that you have to put it in a fucking plastic, like, post satchel to send it anywhere. So it's like the book is in brown paper, and then it was all wrapped up with this string, and it's a noose around the neck of this little
that's cool.
fork thing. It's
like
the like obviously, like, these guys just like completely hand on everything, and
that's boss.
Awesome thing. So I thought we'd do one of the quizzes. All right, I'm just going to flick through. All right, quiz 25. Horror trivia, 1970s. You ready? 10 questions. This is what we're ending the podcast on. We need to know the answers to these, otherwise no one's going to listen again.
Oh, no.
Number 1. During the filming of The Exorcist, how did director William Friedkin get a startled reaction from actor Jason Miller?
He fired a gun.
I don't know that. He fired a gun, you're saying?
Yeah, he was nuts, Friedkin. I think he fired a gun on, like, a prop gun on set.
Fired gun. It's quite
played Tubular Bells just like really loud, and the guy was like,
2. What remake of a classic 1950s sci-fi horror was released in 1978 starring Donald Sutherland? Easy.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. I'm going to put in...
I love the end of that film where he like stands and you think it's all right, and then he just goes,
yeah. I hate that, they're screaming and pointing.
The face on the dog as well. So,
At the start of cult musical The Rocky Horror Picture Show, who sings the opening song, science fiction double feature?
Who? Well, it's just some lips.
Is it Columbia?
Who sings it?
The character. Is it Columbia? It's just a set of red lips. I don't know if it's a character, is it?
Richard O'Brien. Say Richard O'Brien.
Well, no, it's a woman singing it. Like it's just black,
I've already written Richard O'Brien. That's how it's locked in.
No!
He wrote the thing. He can write. He can sing it.
What was the nickname given to the shark by the crew of Steven Spielberg's 1975 blockbuster Jaws?
Bruce.
Bruce.
Sharky.
It's Bruce after a lawyer.
I think you've rigged this, given the Jaws question to Kirsty. He's like the international Jaws expert. Like, what are you going on Mastermind for? Jaws.
From what biblical source does Anton Phoebes take inspiration when exacting revenge on those he holds responsible for his wife's death in The Abominable Dr. Phoebes?
Is it Phoebes? I thought it was
Phoebes. Phoebes, then.
It's the, isn't it the Plagues of Egypt? I think.
Plagues. Number 6. In what 70s horror classic does Christopher Lee say the line, "And now for our more dreadful sacrifice"? I'm going to dub that with a better impression.
Is it Dracula?
No. Sacrifice. Wicker Man.
Oh shit, yeah.
7. What silent horror, we should all know this, was remade in 1979 by Werner Herzog?
Oh, Nosferatu.
Yeah. Number 8. William Marshall gives a memorable performance in the title role of Blackula. But what is the character's real name?
Oh, I know this. It's it's something like
Just have a really inappropriate guess.
yeah, he's an African prince, so it's like but no, I'm not going to. It's already too much racism with this. I'm not gonna guess. But I did obviously watch it. I did a big project on blaxploitation films, so I've seen it a couple of times. But it's like it's Mama something. I can't. No, I'm not gonna attempt it. I think it begins MAMA maybe, but I can't. I'm not gonna attempt it.
Okay, I'll just put
Too risky.
slur.
I don't think the writers of Blackula actually looked for a proper African name, by the way. I think they just
No.
put some like, we can't say Babatunde, that's like a too popular name. Just change some of the vowels.
Paul's just gonna like edit the clip to you giving an answer, but instead of like giving an answer, it's gonna be a bleeped out. It's like, you can't say that.
All right, 9. What 1976 film directed by Burt I. Gordon and featuring classic Hollywood star Ida Lupino alongside giant rats was based on a book by H.G. Wells?
Gotta know this. Oh god, is it like something it's something the Giants, isn't it?
What year was it?
76.
76. Ida Lupino, Giant Rats.
And there's a sequel to it as well, where there's like a massive kid. I can't remember what it's called now, but
You're
there's a
thinking
sequel.
of Honey, I Shook the Kids.
No.
Honey, I
There's a
Blew Up the
sequel.
Baby.
There's literally a sequel to the film, and this couple take their kid to see a doctor because he's like a sickly child. And then what it does is they basically like use forced perspective, and he becomes like the same kid, but now he's about like 10 foot tall, and he's dead aggressive. God, I can't remember what it is, but it's like
Sounds amazing.
it is. It's so silly.
All right, and 10. God, they're getting harder as they go on. I don't know this one either. Released in 74, what was Hammer's last Dracula film?
It's probably something like
Dracula's Tomb,
Blood of Dracula.
Son of Dracula.
Dracula 3, The Dracula Ring.
25 answers. All right. Number 1, he fired a gun next to his ear. Miller was
Hey.
not happy.
That's it. It's in the documentary that Mark Commode made about it, and all the books that are written about it, which I've read all of them.
Number 2, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Thank you. Oh, Jed. Number 3, Richard O'Brien.
Ray.
In the stage version, the song was sung by Magenta, Patricia Quinn, who almost didn't make the film because she was so disappointed to lose the song.
Oh,
Oh,
I always think of the stage version. That's what I was thinking.
Uh-huh. Number 4, Bruce.
Yay.
Hey.
Number 5, The Plagues of Egypt. Well
Hey,
done,
I got that
Kirsty.
one right.
In theory, in practice, no one in the Bible is impaled by a brass unicorn.
Well, not in the King James version.
In the King James version. No, take that out.
You need to read the other versions of the Bible.
They're putting something about gays.
Plenty of unicorns in them. You should read the Kirsty Walker version of the Bible. It's a hoot.
All right. Number 6, The Wicker Man. Thank you. 7, Nosferatu. 8, Mamuwalde.
Ah, yeah, there we go. I said it started Mama something. I was thinking
Yeah,
of...
I'm going to say yes, we got that one.
Yeah.
Marshall ensured that the character, originally named Andrew Brown, had a proper and respectful backstory.
I was thinking of Mamadou Sakho, the footballer. And I was like, it can't be that. It can't be that.
It's not
His
that, is it?
parents just like, what would your parents name you after? Or Blackula?
Yeah.
We're on a winner here. All right, so all comes down to Jed's answer on number 9. Jed, it was called Food of the Gods. You weren't even close.
Oh, yeah. No, I've seen Food of the Gods too with a massive kid.
And 10, none of our guesses. It was called The Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires.
You're never going to get that, are you?
No one would have guessed something that dumb.
Oh, no, I thought it was the 6 Golden Vampires.
So,
Don't get a point for that. It's a completely different film.
well, we got 8 out of 10.
I think that's respectable.
And I think at least 3 of those questions were a bit like, come on, no one knows that.
Oh, there's going to be some weirdos who do know it, especially who listen to us. I
What,
reckon
in
that...
dark corners?
Yeah, people like that. I think the listeners should pause after the should put it in the comments how many they get. Just edit us getting the whole thing right. The Food of the Gods.
Yes.
I think that was The Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires. Might be getting that wrong.
Do you want to have a few goes at pronouncing Mama Walde?
No, no, thank you. I think it is Mama
I
Walde.
believe it was Mama Walde.
And God, it was Mama. So I was like, but I had that song going, the Pixie Lott song going round in my head, which is like, what would your mama do? And I was like, that's what I sing whenever Mamadou Sakho comes on the TV. I sing that. So that was stopping me from getting. I was like, what is this, Mama something?
Oh. All right. Well, I think 8 out of 10 means that
We can continue the podcast.
one of the best horror podcasts out there, really.
What would have happened if we'd have just got like one? We would have had to just shut up shop.
No, we would have just heavily edited it.
But I did a quiz for another podcast as like a guest sort of quiz master, and they just like couldn't answer a lot of the questions, and they were supposed to be like the geeks. I was like, I asked them a bunch of questions about like things like Warhammer and Silent Running and like anime and stuff, and he was like, I don't know. It's like, what sort of geeks are you?
For I, a master of the geeks.
And all the questions are about robots as well.
Jed, as a guest, out-geeked an entire geek podcast. All right. Well, let's all go and have showers because we've been stuck in a sweltering cupboard for 2 hours.
I love the way you talk about your walk-in wardrobe as if it's like something. You're not stuck in a wardrobe. You're in a walk-in closet in your big fancy house. Oh, I had to do it in the walk-in closet today. Oh, what's a pain. As the guest quarters were all full of the in-laws, had to do it in the walk-in closet.
I had to kick that snooty butler out. Stop rattling that silver. You're making too much noise.
I'm in my combined spare room, laundry room, shit tip.
But I have to use the auger to make something, so I'm going to have to use the normal kettle.
Oh no.
Kettle black tea, please. Beep, beep.
So you're there, you're like, oh yeah, just like gonna go sit by the pool, and then you show his cup, and it's like in front of like a massive like cappuccino machine. So you got your home barista station there. It's like, Jesus Christ.
We have to put our kettle on the floor because there's not enough kitchen space or worktop space. So when we're using the air fryer, the kettle has to live on the floor.
Wow.
I
Is
know.
Lewis not the sort of guy who can put up a shelf?
No. What's bad that makes me feel sick.